Hey, everyone wants passive income, but some of the ideas out there to get it are just plain garbage. Well, stay to the end for 4 strategies that I'm going to show you about creating passive income that really actually work. All right, so number 1, rental real estate. Now, I'm not talking just about buying the house in your backyard, although that's an option, but I am talking about finding actual real estate that allows you to be able to invest anywhere inside the country. Did you know that you probably have better real estate deals outside of your own state, especially outside of your own town or your city? I live in Utah, right? I know that anywhere in the western half of the United States, really investing is not great for rental real estate. But if I look out somewhere else like Tennessee, North Carolina, Florida, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas, places like that, and in communities where they're just more stable, they're not really risky, you actually can create a lot more money there than you could somewhere else. Personally, I love to use turnkey real estate. I don't like to manage my own properties. I'm not very good at that, to be honest. I'm one of those suckers that, if someone says I can't pay on time, I'm like, ugh, well, I really need that payment, but all right, just one more month. And then next thing you know, it's gone 5-6 months, I haven't been paid. And then they move out and they trash your place. I'm not a good property manager. I learned that from the last recession. But there are people that are good property managers. They'll make sure you do get paid much better than you will if you do it on your own. That's what turnkey real estate does. They help you find the property. They help you finance the property if you need to get a mortgage. They also set you up with a property manager, and then they just send you the profits. So they'll take all the money that they need for that, and then afterwards they'll send you the profits, and that's it. Some of the cases, we've seen properties they'll pay at least 7, 8, even more than 10% a year on just the cash flow alone. That's called a cash on cash return, where you're actually making money off of your money. So for example, I remember I put $32,000 down on a down payment of a house. Now that included closing costs and everything. The monthly payment, the cash flow coming from that was about $310 a month. But as time went on, that eventually built up. Now it's about $500 a month, making a lot more money. It's making like about an 18% cash on cash rate of return. That doesn't count the fact that they're paying down my mortgage for me, doesn't count any appreciation, and it doesn't count any tax benefits either. All that stuff is happening because I bought that property and I bought it from some of the right people. And there's lots of good turnkey real estate companies that we have even within our community that we've referred many of our clients to that have done a great job and even got people better properties than I've gotten for myself. So that's the beautiful thing about it, is that you can actually take that money. And by the way, the tax advantages on it, I pay virtually no taxes on these properties because I'm able to depreciate and write off on these properties, and that offsets any of the income I make. So it's almost like getting Roth IRA tax-free type of money, but I'm making double-digit returns, not including any of the growth that I make. So rental real estate, I think, is one of the greatest places you can create passive income where you're not having to be the property manager dealing with all the tenants, the toilets, and the trash. All right, number 2, funds. Now, I'm not talking about mutual funds. That's not what we're referring to here. Funds are funds where people can pool their money into an actual, fund. But these funds are out off of Wall Street. They're not on Wall Street, they're on Main Street. This is more based in real estate. For example, there are funds that we often talk about on our show where they might lend money to other real estate investors. Yes, you can become like the bank where you charge higher interest. Now, you don't have to be the one charging the interest, although there are notes and you can actually invest in things like that for one-off deals. But a fund is really easy because somebody else invests in those things. They actually go and they form it together and then put your money in, and then you get paid out the returns. Many times it can be easily 7, 8, 10% plus returns, just depending on what's going on in the marketplace. But the nice thing is you do squat, right? You do nothing to be able to get that. So for some people where they say, well, I want to be able to put my money in things, but I don't have to deal with maybe the headache potential of real estate. Okay, well, the next best bet could be a fund. And it diversifies you a little bit more. It allows you to actually be able to invest in more than one thing. So if one thing does go wrong, you have other things to help make up for that. So that's what funds can do. And by the way, funds can invest in multiple deals at the same time. Number 3, multifamily investing. Multifamily is really anything that's pretty much more than a fourplex, right? But usually it's apartment buildings. You're usually talking about buildings that are sometimes 40, 50 units, or they could be hundreds of units. The hard thing is, you alone probably can't tackle and have enough money to put down on an apartment building, can you? Well, they have what are called syndications, where people can pool their money together to buy into that one specific deal. Different than a fund. Remember, a fund can buy multiple deals, but in a syndication, you buy that one apartment complex. You actually know what your money's going into. It's going into that asset. You can not only get paid returns off of that, but you can also get paid on the growth on the back end. And a lot of times that can also be double-digit returns. Another one is self-storage. Self-storage, just like if you've seen, the little big boxes, that people throw their crap into because they have too much stuff, especially as us as Americans, as consumers. They got to put it somewhere. And especially in a recession, if you want something that's more recession resistant, great place you'd be able to put your money to be able to let it work for you. That's a great opportunity with self-storage. Again, you can go into that kind of syndication, put that money in, and then go invest in those things. A lot of times you get tax benefits just like you do from other forms of real estate, but you also be able to get the benefit of the returns, especially when a lot of those self-storage units are even more hands-off. You're not dealing with the tenants. You have people putting stuff in there. They don't do anything. They're very simple units, but they can make a lot of money. I'll tell you, in 2022, it wasn't a great time to invest in self-storage because so many people were buying them. But now going into 2023, we're starting to see the prices come down while the cash flows still stay higher. So you're getting bigger bang for your buck. So that could be another great one you can do as well. So like I said, rental real estate can be great, doing turnkey real estate. One of my personal favorites because it can have a real asset, right? And then there's a fund. A fund can get you some more diversification. It can allow you to invest in a lot of ways. And sometimes those funds, by the way, some of those funds, you can put in a minimum of $100 or $1,000 even. There are some low barriers of entry to get into some of those deals. And you don't even have to be qualified as what's called an accredited investor. But that leads into those other two I just mentioned. Multifamily investing, like apartment buildings and things like that, as well as self-storage, although it might require you to hit a certain level of wealth in your situation for them to let you invest in those things. Still, the great thing is that you can invest in apartment buildings, you can have ownership and interest in those, as well as self-storage units, and make a lot more money. Now, I want to throw out a bonus for you guys right here. How can you create passive income if you didn't have any money? Or can you use no money to create passive income? Normally, and I say generally speaking here, you can create passive income with no money by offering something else. Often it requires time, labor, or something of that nature. But let me give you a few examples of what you could do. One, you can become a credit partner. Now, there are people out there that say, listen, if you can help qualify to buy this real estate property, I'll be sure to make your payment. I'll even pay a little extra so you can make some cash flow on that. Many times people might say, I don't have the credit, or I just don't want the credit, or have to go through the headache of dealing with the bank. Can you be my credit partner? And then I manage the property, I do everything, I just pay you a little bit more than the mortgage payment so that you make some income. Guys, whenever you can make money from no money, that's an infinite rate of return, right? That is a great thing. I don't care if you're making $2 from that, it's great. Now there are some risks, of course. You want to make sure you're partnering with somebody really well in that category, somebody that knows what they're doing. However, it is a fantastic way that many people don't realize that your credit score can become an asset. It can become something to create passive income. Oh, another way you can do this with also using your credit or using a credit card is you can actually add people as an authorized user on your credit card. Now, you got to be careful. Different credit cards have different rules, but if you're looking to help somebody out, remember, dollars follow the value, right? So it's always about how you can actually create value for people. If you have a credit card with good, clean history on it, and especially if it's been paid off, or at least it doesn't have a balance more than 10% of the limit, you can actually offer to somebody who's trying to boost their credit score saying, listen, I will put you on my credit card as an authorized user. You won't get the credit card. You'll have no access to it, the funds or anything at all, but you'll have the credit history show up. I did this with my dad actually back in my 20s before I became financially independent. Actually, almost right about the same time I became financially independent. I told him, I said, Dad, listen, I know my credit score, I can make more money, or I can save interest, I can save money on getting this car loan as well as this mortgage if I have a better credit score. But because I'm in my 20s, I don't have great credit history because it's been a short period of time, so your credit score has to take time to build up. I said, Dad, you remember that credit card you could let me use in college? Yeah. Can you put me on as an authorized user? Well, what do you want with it? Nothing. You can just send it to your house, shred it. I don't need it. I just want the history. Because what happens is that it shows when you open up that credit card in 1995, I now have credit history. It looks like I set up that credit card when I was 17 years old. So Dad, can you do that? And he said, yes. And so he put me on. My credit score bumped up 23 points in the first month. It allowed me to get a better interest rate, save me money. And of course, if I had made the agreement, I could have paid him money for access to that. You could do the same. You could actually pay somebody could actually pay you money if you have a good credit score or a good credit history on that particular credit card. So there's lots of ways to create passive income with no money. You can become a partner and just often do grunt labor for people, helping them get into a real estate property. There are so many ways to do it. Just remember, there are ways you can create passive income with no money at all. But if you got money, you can definitely be able to buy real assets that generate real passive income right now. All right, guys, if you thought this video was great, check out this next one, which is what are the best forms of passive income. Check that out now.